Hey everyone, welcome to the Week in DSP for the week of November 19th, 2018. I want to start things off by issuing a correction on my previous week's video. It was not Jaha that DSP was trying to get into a fight with, that was Viscant. DSP has had other altercations within the FGC, and I just got the participants mixed up in my head. So sorry about that for the incorrect information. However, he has had some beef with Jaha, so that's probably why he just auto-banned Jaha when he came into the channel. While we're on the topic of corrections, I think it's important to really get the true and real and honest information out there to avoid the speculation, just like the cocaine theory from last week. We only want to report on things that are actually happening, that have archives, screenshots, and clips of what actually happened to DSP, with DSP, and DSP to other people. I don't want a repeat of the escort saga because that makes us look like the assholes, whereas DSP is the one who is an asshole because he's using his dying parents as a point to beg for more money from kids on the internet. Just something to keep in mind, trust but verify. That's why I only choose a handful of people from Kiwi Farms, because they time and time again post information that's well researched and well documented, and maybe in something that they're experts in a field on if they reveal that power level of themselves. I agree speculation is fun from time to time, and I know I've said this before. I try to keep the speculation out of here. Memes really aren't news. I might throw a meme in if I want a good laugh, but I really just want to focus on trying to get you caught up in what you missed this week. So speaking of this week, let's get into DSP's schedule. We have his schedule starting on Monday, November 19th with Spyro 2 Conclusion and Spyro 3 Premiere. And then Dragon Quest XI in the evening. Tuesday was the Spider-Man DLC Premiere with Hitman 2, the Elusive Target stream in the evening. Wednesday was his day off. Thursday, which was Thanksgiving for those of us in the United States, he had a special edition live stream, which was 2 hours of Ask the King, followed by a 1 hour State of the Stream address, and that was all that he streamed. There was no second stream that night because he was celebrating with Kat. Friday was Spyro 3, and then Assassin's Creed in the evening. Now, one thing I want to point out while we're looking at this image is if you look at the very, very bottom where it says, "Thanks all for your support," you can see the pointer. The little thing that shows where you're typing, where your focus is, where your letters are going to go when you hit letters on the keyboard. He couldn't click off of that when he took the screenshot. I don't know, it just looks sloppy. So this just really looks like something that he made in Microsoft Paint. There's no way he made this in any, not even a free professional level image editing software like GIMP or anything like that. He literally just used this in Microsoft Paint. The other thing I want to point out here is Wednesday being his day off and then no second stream. He's allowed to have days off. But when you get to how much money he's asking for on Thursday, like, why would he take a day off? Additionally, on Thursday, he talks about needing to visit his parents and he couldn't take that time away from his stream. So why doesn't he put the extra time in now so that way he can afford to take 3 or 4 days off later? The other thing I want to say about his schedule is it just looks like a mess. If he has the date and the stream title, then the time kicks over to the next line. And then some of the lines you have the date, the title, and the time. So it's just a very disorganized presentation of getting this information to us. They have calendars that are just the week calendar. He could easily make something like that, have that occupy the top half and the bottom half be his Teespring ad, which he's plugging that in his YouTube videos now and on his stream and now on every Twitter post because he puts a schedule update out practically daily. So like tomorrow he's going to post this, except Monday's going to be kicked off. Everything's scooted up and Saturday's added in at the bottom. Last thing before I talk about the other half of the week is I don't know, just like some minor grammar shit. But Holiday Gaming Marathon is all uppercase. Then he has and, all three letters uppercase, and then Special Holiday Edition, all lowercase, of DSP Tries It. Then thanks all for your support. I think there's that just reads weird to me. I could be wrong. Maybe that's the correct way to say it. But shouldn't it be? I don't know. Thanks for all your support. Thank you all for your support. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong here. I'm not a English major or anything like that. And if you listen to me talk at extended periods of time, I do say dumb phrases and words occasionally. And you guys have heard me mispronounce words on video on stream before. So I could absolutely be wrong. This might be a huge minor nitpick. Like, this doesn't even fucking matter. Anyways, let's get to Friday, which is Spyro 3 in the morning, Assassin's Creed in the evening, and we'll have the Christmas decorations up and running. Saturday was Call of Duty multiplayer with no second stream, which, okay, so he's taking 2 nights off this week and 1 day off this week. Keep in mind, Thursday, this guy says he has no money to go visit his parents, who he thinks are going to die soon, and he needs $16,000, otherwise he's going to lose his house. Sunday is Spyro 3 with Dragon Quest XI, and then Monday, today, then I'm recording all this, is Assassin's Creed in the morning and Black Ops 4 live stream, which I will definitely restream. Again, you can see in the middle part where he puts the hyphens as his line break. There's the pointer again. So again, he couldn't click off of this page to get that pointer to go away. I mean, also the copy and paste pictures of the t-shirts, there's artifacts, JPEG artifacts going on in the corners. I don't know if you guys can see that resolution, but then the t-shirts have are extra pixelated. I don't know what's going on with there too, but very clearly, obviously done in Microsoft Paint again. And these aren't even the same resolution either. So he is just taking the snapshot tool and just going drag, click, upload. What's even great too, and I've seen people start memeing this on Kiwi Farms, is he puts a fucking link in an image. You can't click his twitch.tv here, and you can't click his Teespring store /DSP Gaming here to go buy a t-shirt or go follow him on Twitch, if you weren't already following him on Twitch. And if you're not following him on Twitch, why do you care about this live stream schedule? So why have your twitch.tv there? Why not be fancy like, I don't know, a professional streamer would, and put the Twitch logo /DarkSidePhil? Because that's what the cool guys do, because they know you can go to twitch.tv and type in DarkSidePhil, and oh, hey, is that his stream? Yes, it is. I'm probably getting real nitpicky on this shit, but like, between this having double days, which we saw last week, where Thursday was a Hitman 2 live stream and also his day off, and I want to say back in October he had holiday misspelled like 3 or 4 weeks in a row. Like, just doing the little things can pay off, I think, in my opinion. Just little good decisions, little good pieces here and there will add up. I don't know. It's just like polishing every little bit. It's also kind of like a Jordan Peterson thing too, I guess, where it's like, I know this from his interview with Steven Crowder. I'm getting way off topic here. Probably talking about someone that the internet's going to make fun of me for even watching and reading his book. But the idea of continually improving the space that you're in with minor changes throughout time, just to try to get closer and closer and closer to the perfect, productive place to work in. And I just see the same thing here. Like, if he polishes this here and polishes this here and cleans this up here, cleans this up here, it looks way more presentable. And it's all about the presentation. I don't think he realizes that. That's why he doesn't shower before he gets on his first stream. That's why he doesn't brush his hair. That's why he just picks up whatever shirt is off the floor or probably drags it right out of the laundry. Or he doesn't think about grooming himself or even working out so he doesn't look like a fucking potato with noodle arms. It's all about the presentation because you're on fucking camera. You're on YouTube. So you're recording yourself live. You're putting the archives up on video. and you have a face cam there, so you kind of have some obligation to be presentable to your audience if you want to draw in an audience. Now, I'm kind of lucky in that I don't have a face cam. My camera is used for Rocky. But even then, like, I make sure the Rocky cam isn't catching anything dirty or like the floor isn't muddy around Rocky or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's all about how you look. How does that draw people in? I mean, that's why Twitch thoughts get away with so much and how they get so many viewers so quick. The presentation. Oh, look, I've got tits. I've got candy colored hair, and I'm going to talk in a sexy voice. Presentation. I want to do a larger video on this, and I have a script written for it. I just need to find the time, but holy shit, I've spent 10 minutes on this fucking schedule. Let's move on. There was a lot of speculation on the Kiwi Farms about ideas on how Phil could have improved his business, where he could have saved a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there. This post from Fuck Off Dad is talking about Redbox still being a thing where he can go and rent games. He doesn't need to spend $60 on a full copy of a game or $100 on a deluxe edition. I also want to point out that a lot of his fans do end up either donating the game code to him directly to download or sending him the money to directly download the game anyways. I don't know at what point in Phil's career he moved from buying physical copies and trading them in, because even then he would get some return on the investment in the game, and he can apply that towards later game purchases coming on. He very rarely goes back and replays games that he's played in his past. The exception, of course, being Dark Souls and Bloodborne. For whatever reason, he keeps revisiting the Soulsborne series as his replays. But he's never going to replay a Mario game because he can't get ad revenue on YouTube out of it. And a lot of these other games that he keeps saying is trash, this is garbage, this is the opposite of fun, we're not going to see him replay. As soon as he's done with Hitman 2, he's never playing Hitman 2 again. As soon as he is done with Fist of the North Star, he's not revisiting Fist of the North Star. The other idea behind renting a game for $2 a day is it might focus him in on playing that game for weeks on end to finish it, which if he plays the game for an entire month, he breaks even with the digital download cost. And he's not buying these games on sale because they're brand new releases. And people were talking about in the Sunday stream on the 25th about Final Fantasy IV being on sale on Steam because he said he might want to play that game and it's his favorite Final Fantasy. But he's like, oh, I don't know if I have time to go click and do that. It takes like 5 fucking seconds to download a game on Steam to buy it in the cart. Here's what you do. Click add cart, click I agree, click purchase for myself, put in your security code, and done. And then you can start installing it. He doesn't have time to fucking do all that work either. So it's really crazy to me that he would rather spend $60 on a game, play it once a week for 3 months, aka Dragon Quest XI, and continue pulling in only 200 or less viewers a night, but he still focuses in on this game. My other suggestion for him too, this is not news, I may have said this on the Kiwi Farms before, I've definitely said this in other videos, is Phil should just stop fucking chasing the AAA games, especially if he's not going to go back and replay them, and especially if he's not going to play the multiplayer or do the things that build up the replay value of the game. The reason being is on YouTube, it made sense to chase the AAA titles and try to get the first day views because that's how you beat the algorithm. That's how you gained viewership. On Twitch, since he's not focusing on YouTube anymore, you have to have the viewers in place already. So when you plug in the game, you just shoot up at the top of the charts. Phil is not going to be recommended at the top of Twitch because you have to have over 10,000 viewers to even think about cracking that, I guess, illustrious position. And I just clicked over to Darksiders 3 because I think that's the newest release to come out. And he would have to have over 400 viewers to even crack the top page on that game, which is possible for him. But there's other people already playing that game with thousands of viewers and people who got into the game early. They're shills. So what's going to happen then is these people have already established themselves. They've already gotten into the game and they've already gotten the viewership. So Phil's going to show up and he's not going to be the top Darksiders 3 streamer. So because he's not at the top, people aren't going to see him recommended. He's not going to be recommended from live channels on Twitch. This chasing the latest releases thing is just spending $60 a week, over $250 a month, around about that a month, and he's not gaining any new viewership from it. His viewership has been steadily going down. You can look at Social Blade, you can look at Twinge, and you can see his viewership has been on the decline. It doesn't matter how many followers he's getting, because people follow and refollow when the first sock account gets banned so they can keep trolling him. Lastly, his subs have not budged. He's always been in the 400 range, maybe 450, but he's gotten tons of gifted subs this month. I want to say he's gotten over 100 gifted subs so far. I don't have a hard number. I'm not sure where to go find a hard number. I think he did get a little surgence over his Thursday begathon, but before that, he was already back down to 525 with 90 gifted subs, which is like, oh, he's in the low 400s for true and honest fans. The people who willingly give their money to be subscribed to Phil, not those who got a sub for free. Then he doesn't have to give a fucking roundabout explanation, yada, 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 about skipping a game like Fallout 76. He could just be like, I'm not interested in Fallout 76, and leave it at that. He can play whatever he wants to play, but instead he's like, oh, well, the game's reviewing badly, and I got all these other things on my shelf, or on my plate, what I want to play, Dude, if you picked your own schedule and picked the games that you wanted to play, you would have more fun because it's the games that you want to play, and that energy would echo on your audience. That's all I'm trying to get at. But the final point here from Fuck Off Dad is he's not going to drive anywhere to pick up games. There's no way that he's going to do that. He only gets digital copies because it's the most convenient. He can go start the download and then lumber around his house for his exercise or whatever. Surly Muppet points out that he said he won't play Pokemon Let's Go Eevee because it's a remake of an old game, obviously a remake of a Pokemon game. But he said this while he was playing Spyro Reignited, which is the remake of the PS1 Spyro games. So obviously there's something else going on here. He should just, like I said in the previous point, just say he doesn't want to play the game, he's not interested in the game. But when he puts himself in this position of, oh, I'm going to play all the latest releases, then says, oh, I'm going to skip this release and this release and this release, and I'm going to continue to play Dragon Quest XI for another 3 months, it's really shooting himself in the foot. And especially with him skipping streams, he skipped 2 night streams this week, and he skipped a couple of streams last week and definitely the week before. I think he took 2 days off. When he does this kind of shit, it delays him being able to finish a game to get to a new game. But this is the kind of scheduling conflict he's put himself into with this kind of mentality. Here's a post from Clown Piss that's a screenshot of the Twitch chat. This is Omnipotent Swaggins asking Phil about Devil May Cry. Hopefully Phil finds it in his heart to skip that game. I have some fans who would be very upset if he ruined that masterpiece. And especially with the way he plays Bayonetta, I don't see him playing Devil May Cry very well either. But the part I want to point out is Omnipotent Swaggins at the end here. He's like, oh, where's that invisibility button? I must have switched it on by accident. Because Phil didn't acknowledge Swaggins adding him. He had at DarkSidePhil, and Phil completely blew by it. I've seen this with Swaggins in the past, where he's been trying to give advice to Phil. I think it was during Spider-Man, where he's like, oh, to do this move, you have to do this and this. He typed that, then he typed it again with at DarkSidePhil, then he said the whole message again with 100 bits, and then Phil was like, oh, Swaggins is telling me how to do the thing. So Swaggins, you've already established that you are willing to send money to get Daddy Phil to read your messages. So what you're going to have to do if you want Phil to read your messages is you're going to have to throw quarters at it like everyone else. No one cares that you have, what, a 1000-bit badge and a mod sword and a crown. Get the fuck out of here. No money, no read. Here's a post from Kama, who I'm starting to like more and more. I know they're a new Kiwi to the farms, but their posts have been screen capped, archived, and clipped. So really good source of information here on the Phil mega thread. But we start Tuesday off with a 2 a.m. Jin tweet. It's everyone's right to like a game, even if you detest said game. Express your opinions clearly and coherently, but never hate on someone for liking something that you don't. Everyone is different. This is something that I've learned in the last decade, and I'm glad I did. Bullshit, dude. Holy fucking Jesus. When I was first in his chat in March, when I was giving him the, okay, I've seen the Detractor videos, what is this guy like? I sent a couple messages to him. He read them. I didn't have any money attached to them. So I was like, oh my God, you know, he actually reads real messages. It doesn't have to have money attached to it. He's a normal streamer. And I liked that kind of small, cozy environment where the streamer can interact with the chat and it's not going by a mile a minute. And I mentioned that I liked Hearthstone, and he called me a shitty gamer for enjoying Hearthstone. I've probably outed what my real Twitch account is at this point, but how fucking disingenuous can you fucking be? And this is just me from my personal experience. I know it's anecdotal, but we've seen it happen time and time and time again where he talks about these games. I mean, just even as recently as Black Ops 4, he shits on the people who like Black Ops 4. And he's like, well, their careers depend on liking Black Ops 4, but they don't actually like Black Ops 4. But Phil, you're saying right here, even if you dislike Black Ops 4, they have the right to like Black Ops 4. Money or not. I like Black Ops 4. Fuck you. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. This is so amazing. And it came out of nowhere. No previous tweets about the subject. No conversation about it on the stream. And yeah, so really incredible that all of a sudden, like, I think it's said later on, I don't have the exact post, but it's basically like Twitch Phil and Twitter Phil are two completely separate entities and two separate personalities. So Phil will come on Twitter and he'll be about positivity, interaction, great stream, yada, yada, yada. But on stream, he's like, this game's the opposite of fun. Why do people like this? This is a waste of time. Like, how is that positive? How is that chill? Also, speaking of chill, why do people want to come on and look at a guy complain about money issues? Like, oh man, I just worked a 12-hour day. I can't wait to get home and watch Darkside Phil. Oh wait, here's a 30-minute pre-stream where it's just a slideshow telling me to buy his shitty t-shirts. And then an hour with the same slideshow, but instead of music, it's Phil talking and complaining about, oh, I can't take cat out, yada, yada, yada. Well, where's the chill part? When we get to the video games that you continually shit on the developers and shit on the people who enjoy it and shit on the people who play it. Now, the Bone Sauce has been posting screen caps of Phil's Patreon throughout the week. And I kept these in here because I don't know if there's a way to look at someone's Patreon's trending to see where it was at the start of the month versus the end of the month. But Phil is down to 141 patrons and $630 per month. I think earlier he was in the 700, 800 range. I want to say maybe around the King Tut time, he might have been in the 800, 900 range. And of course, this is the outward facing number. People can still pledge and then de-pledge, and it takes off the per month number, but Phil still gets that money, I believe. That's more of a soap queen expertise kind of thing. The outward-facing number isn't always what he's getting every month, but it's a good indicator of how people feel about Phil at that point in time. Kama again has a screen cap of Phil's chat where Swaggins asks if you're filming the Christmas tree setup, and Phil actually read it without any money attached to it. I will probably film a few short clips and edit them together to show the tree and decorations in the house. Nothing too long, since I'll be doing shows on Thanksgiving and Christmas that will discuss the year, etc., etc. Edit a video together. If I remember correctly, it was probably a Snort Brunel clip, but it was basically like, he said that he will do like a little montage. He doesn't want to focus on it a whole lot. I think it was Tevin who speculated this, or maybe later on in the Kiwi Farms, that Phil is no longer allowed to take pictures with Kat. That's a rule that Kat has made, and Phil has snuck in corners and bits of her in some of the pictures. And in the Instagram that he took of the decorations, he had an ornament made of the first photo of them together. So Obviously breaking the rule there, even though Kat herself isn't physically in the photo. But when you get to his Thanksgiving meal photo, there's no picture of Kat, but he did make sure to include 2 plates in the picture, so you know that Kat is still around, you guys. Tuesday, he completely shat on the Spider-Man 2nd DLC. I watched part of this, and I ended up tweeting at Phil after he uploaded them to YouTube and said, "Oh, hey guys, come check it out, even though this game sucks ass." And I was like, dude, it's about presentation, like I said earlier. If you're coming at me and saying, "Oh, this game sucks, don't buy it, but come watch it," like, what is my incentive to go check it out? I might watch a video and see how terrible it is, but he was saying it's a waste of time and threw his controller down. And if I also recall correctly, he ended the stream 30 minutes early because he's like, "Oh, there's nothing left for me to do in the DLC, I guess," or not enough for him to finish the DLC off in the same stream. Something like that. Some bullshit reason for him to turn off the stream and go walk around his house or whatever he says he has to rush through during his 2-hour break. Also, no wonder anyone doesn't want to sponsor him. He has no problem saying don't buy this product. And he has the gall to say, "Oh, I'm a true and honest gamer." Like, dude, you might want to think about dropping the true and honest gamer persona because it's not making you any fucking money. I was just listening to the Mundane Matt Exposed stream on the Kill stream, and it's a very good point where they're like, "Hey, Matt, riding the fence isn't going to win you a whole lot of fans unless you're already pretty big like Philip DeFranco." And they point out that Mundane Matt was funnier and more entertaining when he was shitting on other content creators, when he was making racist jokes and edgy humor. And he's like, no, that's not me. But dude, you had much more interest in you and your channel after that. So even if it's not you, it's clearly what the audience wants. So what I'm trying to say to Phil is he tries to do this honest gamer bullshit, but he's not going to make any money. And he's got 2 houses and a cat to feed. Plus, Kat wants to get her own cat. So if he wants to make this money, he's got to make some changes. And probably changing his personality would be the biggest change that could probably win him over the most fans. Here's a post from Actually, who is a true and honest fan, and I frequently add him in these videos because he does a lot of number crunching, also highlights from the stream. But he's quoting, "The cat is now gone. Tevin highlighted how much Phil squints when playing games. His refusal to wear glasses so he doesn't get called a nerd is absurd and childish. I agree 1,000% because for Phil, it's all about ego, narcissism. And strangely enough, this is a weird point of presentation that he holds to. He wants to show off that he's the macho guy, I guess, that he's not a nerd. So he maintains that presentation of himself, but he doesn't want to make his stream or himself look presentable. I don't get it. But Third Eye the Third did a troll cheer that amounted to, "Hey Phil, there's too many pixels in the TV. It might be straining your eyes." You know, the 4K TV he got donated, quote unquote. And Phil said he doesn't use the 4K of the TV and the PS4 Pro for the 4K resolution. So why did he need them? Why get a 4K TV if you're not going to even play the games in 4K resolution? Like, streaming in 4K is one thing. We're probably never going to get that from Phil until like the base internet, like everyone has fiber optic internet and they have graphic cards that can handle 4K resolution in every PC for like $100. You know, so that way every Tom, Dick, and Harry has 4K resolution. Then Phil might consider upping the resolution of his streams. But he's not going to stream in 4K, and he doesn't even play the game in fucking 4K. So the only benefit of the fucking PS4 Pro is that it has a better processor, I guess, so it loads faster and plays games in 60 FPS. But the 4K TV is smaller than the previous TV. And if it's causing him to squint and strain his eyes, it's going to fuck up his vision in the long run. I know I've played computer games for a long time. I mean, easily like nonstop, probably from high school for me. Okay. So I have had some vision degeneration from just staring at screens all day because I would play video games all the time when I was only unemployed or part-time employed. But I had to get special lenses that actually slow the degeneration of my eyes. And it's actually helped out a lot. you can actually fuck up your eyes more by not correcting your vision. So Phil's refusal to wear his glasses because he doesn't want to look like a nerd, and for getting a smaller TV, which is forcing him to squint even more, his vision is going to go way faster. I mean, when I was doing that, I was having prescription changes twice a year before they finally found a type of lens that stopped a lot of the issue. And I haven't had a prescription change in 2 years. So I've been really lucky. Phil, on the other hand, is setting himself up for fucking failure. And this isn't a failure of his stream or his money or his taxes. It's his health. It's his eyes. Something that he's going to need for the rest of his life. Even if he's only halfway through his life, if he only lives to be in his 70s, that's still another 3.5 decades that he would need his vision. Especially if he can't have Kat drive him places, he might have to drive himself places still. I will touch on Phil's health a little later on because there looks like that there was a nutrition coach or nutrition specialist who did a breakdown of Phil's musculature. But I also want to say right now that fucking looking at Phil all this time has made me realize, I kind of look like a slob because I sit down and play video games all day and my work requires me to sit all day. Time to start working out. So I hope you guys are doing the same thing too. Like, the health is the only thing you're going to have for the rest of your life, guaranteed. So you got to take care of yourself to make sure that it stays there for the rest of your life. I know I have people who are young adults who are watching, don't get into bad habits, bad eating habits, bad drinking habits. Be sure to still walk at least half an hour a day. For those of you who are in your 20s and 30s or maybe even older, think about trying to get back into walking 30 minutes a day at least, maybe picking up some weights or something. Get real light entry into some exercise. You don't want to look like a fucking potato with noodle arms. I don't want to look like a potato with noodle arms. And the best time to start working out is yesterday. So the second best time is fucking today. Even if you're at your computer in between matches, do some push-ups, do some sit-ups, do some planks. And I'm going to get off my soapbox and move on with the news. Rob VC3 pointed out on Tuesday night, he was watching the night stream through Tevin's restream, that DSP made $54.50 in tips, 1 sub, and bits tonight. And then Tevin made almost $200 during a restream of the night stream. And if you guys remember from last week, DSP bragged about making way more money than Tevin and that he can do this for a living. So keep that in mind when you get to how much he has to fucking beg on Thursday. That he makes a living doing this, and Tevin's jealous because he doesn't have the quality viewers that Phil has. Wednesday morning, we have this legendary post from Dracula Penis, who says that they have degrees in food science and human nutrition, and they work as a health and diet coach. They took some pictures of Phil from 2012 and analyzed him versus the 2018 full body shot we got during the DSP Tries It with the Nightmare Burger. I'm not going to get into the full details here, but it's basically pointing out that even if you do some exercise early in your life and then you fall off, your body atrophies the muscles in a certain way, but that it would still show certain definition or certain shape that it once had to begin with. So that's probably why I still maintain some sort of skinny fat look, because I used to do martial arts. And that the other idea presented here is that you can get back to that look easier because it kind of gets coded in your genetics from doing it at a younger age, I guess. I'm trying to paraphrase what's being presented here too. But Phil talked about being a bodybuilder, football player, whatever. And he has no muscle development whatsoever. And nothing that suggests that he had lingering muscle from when he played football or from when he lifted weights. The only development of muscle that they pointed out is his forearms, because those are the muscles he uses with a controller all day. I mean, it's really great. It's color-coded. It's got good arrows and really good information here. eventually come on and do the same thing with the shower video. It's not a whole lot more information, but it does point out a couple of more key points, especially I think it was in his shoulder area where when he leans forward out of the shower, he literally just has a fold of fat on his shoulder. Even though Phil looks like he's lost weight in some pics, it's because his weight isn't as evenly distributed, I guess, and it's just starting to focus on his chest and his stomach. So, again, guys, take care of yourselves. Okay, guys, the big piece of news this week is the Thursday Thanks Begging, Gout Giving, Ask the King, State of the Stream. It's, there's 2 Kiwi Farms threads that link to this. One was the Ask the King questions, and the other day is the Thanksgiving victimhood, because Phil goes on to blame anyone and everything in the universe for everything that happened to him in 2018, because there was nothing he could do to prevent or change or do anything different. I guess it's the same thing as change, to get away from this. I'm not going to go over the full stream because 2 hours of Ask the King of rehearsed question and answers sounds pretty fucking boring to me. And I'm not going to go over the entire State of the Stream. Tevin did a really good job breaking it down. I think Snort Brunel has a great video out there. At least they have a 58-minute video out there, so I have to assume that they captured a lot of the stream as well. Soma Julius Cruz also did a State of the Stream, which they had it broken down to the 45 minutes. So I'm just going to cover some of the key points that stood out to me from this important video. Well, important in that Phil reveals a lot of information here. He says he's having a special Thanksgiving stream with Kat, but there's no Kat on camera. This is all just Phil, no Kat. And it's special because it's his first Thanksgiving with Kat, but he can't put her on camera because she has to work. I think she might have worked a full day, at least according to him, for what makes sense. Now, something that's really crazy here is last year is when Phil used Thanksgiving to talk about his taxes, and he does the same thing again this year. It's a fucking repeat. It's just crazier. He talked about his crazy 3 years of not paying taxes and needed help, and he goes in to say that it cost him $5,000 to pay the back taxes and another $5,000 to pay the tax attorney. That was $10,000 that he raised in December of last year. He did get $10,000. People on Kiwi Farms confirmed the total that he got $10K last year, December 2017. However, he goes on now to say that he had to pay the taxes and his tax attorney with credit cards. So he put it on credit, which means he has to make minimum payments and he collects interest on it. Yada, yada, yada. So where did the fucking $10K go that he raised last year? I'm willing to bet that he used that money to fly Kat out 3 times, move her in, and buy a whole bunch of shit because he wants to show Kat that he can take care of her. Because he also reveals that Kat has her own fucking debts and obligations that she has to pay with the money that she gets from her job. So that's probably partly why Kat is living with Phil. She can get rent for free-ish, maybe a hand job here or there, but then she can take all the money that she's earning and put that towards paying down whatever she owes from her history. So thank you, Phil, for revealing a little bit about Kat's background. Apparently, Kat offered to pay and contribute towards the mortgage and the food and the bills or whatever. And Phil apparently, he made it sound like he refused. Like he was like, oh, I can't ask any more of her since we're already splitting the chores 50-50 with cleaning and cooking. And it's like, dude, if you need to get out of this, and if she's your soulmate, you guys have to attack these kind of situations together. This is the perfect thing for testing a relationship. If it's a true and honest and real relationship that's got to be at least 1.5 years old at this point, right? And he talks about marrying her, and he says, "Oh, well, I can get her a ring, and it could be less than $100 because it's not the value of the ring; it's the gesture. It has all the value in it." I have bullet points from here. Apparently, he said he couldn't manage to visit his parents. He talks about his parents being dying because they're elderly. He thinks this is his last time to visit them. actually does the breakdown and shows that it could cost him $300 to $400 round trip to go to Connecticut and see his parents. So he can't even fucking manage $400 out of the King Tut money to go see his parents. The other thing that's crazy with the parents' situation too is that they offered to pay and offered to fly out to visit him, to see him for one time in 5 years. And he refused to let them come out because he couldn't take time away from the stream. This is why I was going back to saying earlier on his schedule. Why not stream for 5 weeks straight, save up 5 days of time off, quote unquote, and take a literal vacation, Phil? I know there's a meme of him taking vacations right after he gets a shit ton of money or right before he begs for a shit ton of money. But goddamn, you need a vacation from time to time in your life. I gotta say, like, coming from Thanksgiving break, vacation feels fucking great. You gotta get that. And you gotta work towards it too. My company gives me paid time off, but I only earn a day a month or something like that, right? So I only get 2.5 weeks of time off a year, right? I want to go to Hawaii next year. So what I'm going to do is not take time off this year, bank it up and save it going into next year and take time off next year. So he should do the same thing. Instead of taking a day off here, a day off here, and a day off here for 3 weeks, stream those 3 weeks, and then you have those 3 days of money saved up and you can go in. Oh, a big point of the Thanksgiving stream too was he admitted to not being honest about the curse situation earlier in the year. It's just great for Phil to fucking change the narrative. We knew he was lying, but for him to come out and say, oh yeah, I was lying to his fans is a pretty big yikes, I would say. Because now he's shown that he treats them like children and says, oh, I didn't tell you the bad news until you could grow up and understand it. You know, oh, I sent the cat Fluffy to go live on a farm. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You know, adults mean we had to put the cat down. So, okay, he lies about the curse situation. Now he lied about the tax situation from last year. He reveals that Kat wants to contribute more, that she has her own debts. He doesn't think that she's worth $100 ring, even though he gets $300 tournament-ready Astros or what the fuck ever. And then he also says he needs $16,000 on top of what he usually makes to avoid losing his house. And he says he can't lose the house. It cost him too much money to move out there. It would cost him too much money to move back to Connecticut. And then he's back there with loud neighbors and poor internet or whatever else he said. He also said that Kat wants to get a pet cat and that they can't even afford to get a pet cat. A cat that bathes itself and shits in a box, so you don't have to walk it. It will eat dry food out of a bowl, it'll drink water, it'll poop and piss in a box, and all you have to do is clean that box out once every other day for one cat. And if you get 2 litter boxes, you could probably stretch it out a little bit more. And he might want that in a large house, one on the main floor and one on the top floor. He also said, again, that his parents are old and in poor health, but he also says his dad still works full time. So I don't know if it's one parent is in poor health or if he's making this up and turning on the waterworks to try to get people to reach deeper into their pockets. So he's exploiting his parents for more fucking money. Who knows? It's just pretty scummy all around. It's also during this stream, he also got more fucking gifted subs. All that I see on the Kiwi Farms is someone pointed out that he received 10 subs from Grazy Dream. That was Kama who pointed that out. But it doesn't, I don't have the number for the total number of gifted subs this month. But if I add 10 to last week's total, which was 90, then Phil has over 100 gifted subs this month. Americ Front posted Phil's Instagram post where he put his Thanksgiving meal out there. And Phil has shit on food being processed in the past. And if you guys look at this turkey, look how like machine round these turkey breast slices are. This is obviously a frozen meal that was warmed up. And now I know some people shit on him for having plastic plates, paper plates. both Thanksgivings that I went to over the weekend, we had paper plates, but that just makes cleanup so much easier, especially when one Thanksgiving was 30 people and the next one was 15, 20 people. So when you got a lot of people, you don't want to do all those fucking dishes. But this was just Phil and Kat, and they couldn't be bothered to get out the nice plates or anything. We have some rolls, we have some cranberry sauce, mashed potatoes and gravy, green beans, stuffing, and just this processed, super looking turkey. Now, while I was scrolling through some of the posts, I didn't include this in the outline, but I'm going to add it in now. Sparklator points out that Phil has 4 boxes of dinner sets that sit up on top of his cabinets, and you can see this in the DSP Tries It video. It's the 4 green boxes, the green cardboard boxes that sit on the space above his cabinets in the background. Those are each dinner sets, and that has 4 plates per set. So Phil, for some fucking reason, has 16 plates. When is he ever going to need 16 plates? That's enough for Phil and Kat to use a clean plate every night for a week before they need to do dishes. So they point out that maybe Phil, by showing a obviously frozen, processed, reheated, cheap Thanksgiving dinner on paper plates, might be a way for him to show, oh, look how poor I am, guys. I really need that $16,000. Now, to change gears away from Phil's Thanks Begathon for a second, we have Slenderman, who posted a link to resetera.com where people were discussing Phil begging for $16,000. So it's just amazing to me just to look at another part of the internet, another forum where Phil is kind of shat on as well and not held in very high regard. Admittingly, I don't know a whole lot about Reset Era myself. I think there's been a couple controversies with them already this year, so I don't know what kind of platform or user base it is. I don't know if it's like super ultra SJW or whatever, but just to see them shit on Phil constantly. And some of them are like, oh, I heard of Phil like way back in the day, like 9 years ago. Like these are people who didn't get stuck to this train wreck in slow motion like the rest of us. These are people who are like, oh, I've always wondered what he was up to. Oh, he's just sitting on his ass playing games poorly and begging for money. So some people are like, oh, same old, same old. And other people's like, oh, I used to like him, but I don't like him now. It's really great. If you want a refreshing look away from a lot of the Detractor echo chamber talking points, it's a really good read. Now, the last post I want to comment on for Thursday is from Actually Again, and this is what I'm talking about with someone who has good numbers and good research. Phil confirmed by asking for $16,000 and saying that he owed $5,000 on state taxes that his taxable income in Washington state is over $100K a year. That was owing the state $5K for 2014, 2015, and 2016. He found out in 2017. Highest rate of business and occupation tax is 1.5%. So you take 5K divided by 0.015, divide that by 3 years, being the most generous, and you're looking at 100K annually. And he's not managed to sock or save or hide any of this away at all. You guys can look back at some of the previous videos and some of even Phil's comments. Like when his office got hot, he went and bought a bladeless fan. This is the guy who's now saying he doesn't have any money saved up for his taxes. So, yeah, how would you feel knowing that this guy makes $100,000 a year? That puts him in like the upper, 2% of earning income for Americans? Like, he is that 1% almost that Bernie Sanders rants and raves about. This is a guy who's making fuck you money, almost. This is a guy who's making a really good amount of money. And he can't save any of it. He has the worst fucking spending habits of any human being ever. And he thinks the lottery is going to solve this for him? You can see reports of people who win the lottery and end up being homeless again in like 3 years. Because giving someone who is poor spending a shit ton of money does not solve their money issues. They get into more and more debt because they think all of a sudden they can afford more and more things when they don't take care of what's already on their plate. Case in point being Phil and his Connecticut condo. He gets machinima fuck you money from YouTube, and he says a ridiculous fuck ton of money, and instead of taking care of the condo and fixing it up and getting ready to sell it and waiting, he just fucking moves across the country and leaves that sitting there thinking, oh, I'll continue making shit tons of money and I can afford 2 houses. I think it's some other points in the Kiwi Farms thread where people point out at some of the Phil fans who obviously read the threads. They don't post anything, but they report to Phil what's being said on the threads and being said on the Twitters. So they're like, hey, DSP fan, Phil is obviously in a very bad spot, but all that you're doing by giving him money is enabling him. Stop it. The best thing you can do to help him is let him crash and burn and start making real decisions and selling things off and downsizing his life. If people keep floating this luxurious lifestyle that he can't afford, then he's going to keep coming at us with these depression videos, tax videos, etc., etc. An interesting point on Friday morning made by Sparklator. Obviously, I think they were rewatching the State of the Stream address, but DSP started the stream with saying he had to come clean because something happened in the last week. What specifically happened that caused him to make an hour-long begging video? I don't think anything was ever specifically stated about what was the impetus for him to make this particular stream. So obviously Phil didn't have a script or any idea of what he was going to talk about, because I think he kind of blew over a really important talking point that he started the stream with. Now, there was a whole lot of discussion about what Phil might have to change or what needs to change in order for him to thrive, but he didn't really talk about what he was going to change. The only change after an hour of talking and begging and borderline crying is that the minimum cheer is now 50 bits and 100 bits to show on the screen. And that is just to say a fuck you to the trolls. So now they can only get 1 troll cheer instead of 4 troll cheers for 100 bits. Like, that's going to slow down the people who like to troll cheer, Phil. There are people who troll cheer more than just the minimums at a time anyways, because they want to try to make that message look more and more enticing to get him to look at it. But what Phil doesn't understand is when he tries to punish the trolls by raising the cheer minimums, he punishes his fans at the same time. So it's really going to kind of drive people away from him, you know, where it's like, oh, I can't give him the pittance of money that I normally give him, but still get that endorphin rush of him saying, oh, hey, thanks for the money, jubbity bubbity or whatever. So now we got to go to these way higher minimums, like a doubled minimum cheer and I don't know what his bit cheer to show on the screen was. Maybe he split the numbers now, but that's a pretty big change, and that's going to slow his income, I'd imagine. And it's interesting too how fucking afraid he is to have the text to speech turned on, even for a high dollar amount. Like, make it 500 bits to get text to speech. Like, even Tim the Tatman has that, or I think it's Amaranth. No, she's the ASMR person. There's another girl streamer that has like a $4 text to speech readout, but if you try to troll her, she snaps back. She's got bants. She's got witty responses. She's clever. She's smart. Phil doesn't have that. If you make fun of Phil by saying that he spends all his donations on fast food, he's like, I spend all my donations on fast food. That's the best thing he can do, is repeat what you said and try to mock what you said. But he doesn't do it in any roundabout or fun way. The Bone Sauce also posted on Friday an update to the Patreon situation. He gained 1 new Patreon for $5 a month. So good job, Phil. You're on your way to that 16K. NV18 posted a link to They Call Me Beg's Twitter, which is a screen cap of Phil's Twitch chat, where Popsicolo, a mod, posted a link to furry scat porn. And they want to call the detractors sick fucks. Now, what's really interesting about this, and I might make a separate video on it, I don't want to do a doxing video because that's not right, but I do want to talk about Phil's fans, especially since there seems to be a lot of them that are fucking degenerates like this, especially fucking furry degenerates. And I know some of my viewers are furries, And I guess that's okay. But what I'm going to point out is you're not the kind of furry that's like Master Saruwatari, who's posting ponies punching the shit out of each other with teeth and blood. Also real hentai women, well, not real women, hentai women doing the same thing. You're not Popsicolo posting scat porn. You're not Sidella begging for women to get their tits cut off. These guys are fucking fucked in the head. And for some fucking reason, Phil attracts them. There's also someone in Phil's chat named Fluttershy1970, obviously a brony. There's no reason you would be on Twitch with a name like Fluttershy unless you were a fucking brony. They're all fucking furries, and for some reason Phil's chat is drawing them in. According to Tevin, Kekin is also a furry as well. He's apparently an otter/piplup penguin hybrid, according to his DeviantArt. So it's like, it's really insane how many fucking weird people follow Phil and are diehard attracted to Phil. Maybe the cat head costume wasn't that too far off. Maybe that was fan service to Phil's furry fan base. Friday Night actually posted out that Third Eye the Third got banned again. Now, Third Eye the Third was working on a Christmas overlay for Phil and made a very busy, very intricate Christmas overlay that said Merry Xmas DSP. It had some of the emoticons springing off of it. It had the Bob Ross face hidden under a bird's nest full of eggs. And apparently the eggs is a Detractor meme. It links back to Tevin and the egg gang gang. So Phil, when someone revealed that to him, that the eggs are a Detractor meme, eggs are a Detractor meme now, guys. Phil probably cut eggs out of his breakfast when he realized, oh, eggs is Tevin. He's the egg overlord. I can't eat eggs now. So I guess Third Eye got banned because of that. And also somehow got unbanned too. I don't know the full story behind that, but apparently the mods thought that Third Eye was a more positive influence on the stream, even if he tried to do Detractor memes. So they wanted him back. Anything to get that money, especially if you need that 16K. We have the Bone Sauce again, posting that Otaku Skull Gaming's artwork got used in the pre-stream slideshow from Phil. Now, I'm not one to super shit on someone's artwork because I know it's a growing process, but Phil has to realize, and he realizes on some things, that part of fucking streaming is the presentation. This isn't absolutely horrid. I just got to say, like, the lime green on the periwinkle background is very hard to read. So it just looks like you got 3 controllers, fun and chill gaming with Dark Side Phil. You alternated the colors. Okay, that's cute. You have this picture that doesn't look like Phil at all. And then because the green and the blue are really hard to see next to each other. And if streaming is about presentation, you'd think that he'd have some sort of quality control. But it looks like you can make anything and get it thrown onto the slideshow. I mean, he has that weird muscle-bound homoerotic picture of Phil and Potion on his pre-stream. I don't know, man. It seems really weird to me. I guess it's nice that he lets his fans get to submit things. But I know that he's shot things down for making him not look good. So I don't know what he's thinking. If he has quality control and lets that through, I don't know, man. I'm not trying to be mean to this guy. But this is a guy who did beg Phil for forgiveness because he stopped following for 1 month. We go from Friday to Saturday with Patreon. Thank you again, The Bone Sauce, for posting these updates. He was at 636. He lost 1 patron. He went from 142 to 141. But in that loss, he went down $45 per month. So he lost a big supporter from his Patreon after doing this mega begging. Kama posted this screen cap, which I was able to download from Streamable, about a Detractor getting into the lobby with Phil and letting out some real talk. And he got to get out a few seconds of Phil talking points. It was pretty fucking good.
Half time. We won. It's a close one, but we won. Good shit.
Dark Side Phil is a stupid, cowardly, ugly, jobless, narcissistic, egotistical man-child who begs for people's money just by sitting on his fat ass, sucking a video against 24/7 and will never adapt to a professional level in gaming. Do not donate to this loser. He only using your money just to buy fast food, making his fans
I buy fast food.
own bills and keeps Moses unearned.
Okay, now back to the game. I use my money to buy fast food. That's interesting.
Enemy has C.
I will use your money to buy fast food. As you know, fast food is very expensive these days. Oh shit. God damn it.
Bravo, lockdown.
Now, I want to point out that this is Saturday that this is going on, and he carried on complaining about this into Sunday. During the Black Ops 4 multiplayer game through, there was a top cheer that Phil read, shook his head, but didn't put them on the leaderboard and didn't read it out loud. It's 100 bits from Suspicious Labrador. I did some research and a ton of other content creators got kicked off of Curse the same day you did. Wow. Tevin must have had his army of trolls report their channels too. So obviously calling out Phil's bullshit, and Phil does not want to recognize it. Good job, Reentry Phantom, for that bit. From Not Quite a Person, Phil posted a collage to his Instagram, so I guess this is the editing that we're going to get. We're not going to get a montage video or anything. But it's Phil and his big tree, and he's got a polar bear ornament and a cat ornament. And when I say cat, I mean the soulmate. A Pac-Man ornament and some eggnog. And the point that I found that was fucking great here is, are we supposed to feel sorry for him because Tevin and his army destroyed his life and business, or are we supposed to be jealous of all the nice things he has? That doesn't look like a tree that Santa would leave $60,000 under. It's an interesting point. Phil's got to think about the optics of this, that he's asking for $16,000, but at the same time being like, oh yeah, hey guys, everything's totally okay, and look at all the nice things that I still have. Very clearly showing that he wants to continue living this real adult life, hashtag, that he obviously can't afford, but he expects everyone to shell out so he can keep living in this fucking fantasy. Warehouse Kiwi has a good point here that I really wanted to add in here, because kind of part of what I wanted to do with a lot of this DSP shit talking was to use him as a test case and say what you should do. Use Phil as the don't do clause. You know what I mean? So what I wanted to show here, other full-time streamers have flexible schedules and they will stream 9 hours of gameplay, not with breaks and 1 hour pre-streams, and they steadily climb in viewership because they're streaming the whole time. And people know that they can tune in for the streams and watch for the whole evening or the whole day if they're not doing anything that day or they're working that day. I see people in my office who will turn on Shroud or Dr. Disrespect on one monitor and then do their spreadsheets on the other monitor. But Phil 16,000 Burnell, he has a strict schedule, clock in, clock out, gotta leave, have dinner, update schedule with every fucking day on Twitter. It's a 6-hour stream with maybe 4.5 hours of gameplay because it breaks in pre-stream. He then takes a 20-minute break, which resets his viewer count. So instead of streaming for a long time and getting more and more and more and more and more viewers, it's instead, okay, I hit my 400 viewers, 20-minute break, come back, we're at 200, let's climb back up to 400. And then he comes back for a 2-hour stream in the evening. Even though he starts his stream at 9 o'clock his time, that's him turning on the slideshow. He doesn't start any games for like a half hour after that. Sometimes 45 minutes, sometimes an hour after that. He could take out both pre-streams and get 2 extra hours of gameplay a day. Or he could just do one big stream in the day and then go have a whole day and evening with Kat. He could wake up earlier. He could go to sleep earlier. It would be a major improvement to his life and his relationship. Okay, guys, I've already crossed the hour time mark here. And I'm trying to get this video out so I can do the restream tonight. So I'm going to stop reading stuff, but point out good pieces of information from now on. We have nothing I can do showing the major post from Wolf on Phil's Patreon page. Now, I don't know if Wolf... Oh, this is Sunday, by the way. I don't know if this is the guy who took away his $45 patron, but he really shows people like, hey, $20 to get one question asked, you can send 100 bits at any time during the week and get your question asked. So he's really breaking down what Tevin has already talked about before, where you can take $10 and get 10 100-bit cheers and get 10 questions answered at about the same level of clarity and detail as Phil would answer and Ask the King. But again, this isn't the only major patron supporter that we've seen leave Phil and try to drop a big red pill like this. And Phil will make fun of and shit on these guys and talk bad about them behind their backs. And it's really amazing to me that other potential patrons don't see this kind of attitude from him. That if you're giving him money, you're on his side. If you're not giving him money, or you feel like he's changed from what you used to start watching, well, you're a fucking detractor. You're a criminal. You want him to die. There is no neutral ground with him. Even though he tries to say that there's a neutral ground who just want to show up and watch him stream, those guys ultimately are his fans, are his supporters, not a neutral force in the DSP versus the world war, I guess. So just in case you guys are out of the loop, there's a new thing where people are reporting Twitch thoughts, or I guess thoughts in general, girls who scam people for money to get like premium Snapchat access or some shit, and by not reporting their prices or whatever, they're violating FTC or IRS rules or something like that. Or obviously just trying to get money and not report it, even though it's their lifestyle and their income. And this great post just compares, you know, hey guys, we were laughing at DSP for not paying his taxes. So, you know, use him as your test case, you know, pay your taxes so you don't get in trouble with the IRS. Credit to Piece of Shit for posting that tweet, by the way. Now, I know I said I wasn't going to include a whole lot of memes, but this post just really stuck to me and I could not look away from it and I could not talk about it. Just look at Phil's fucking arm fucking jiggle. Just look at it. Look how fucking horrifying that is. This is a guy who says he's a former bodybuilder football player, by the way. And this is why I continually say, please take care of yourself. I know I hinted at this earlier, but on Sunday during Spyro, someone said donate to Darkside Phil so he can buy fast food. There was no cheer attached to the message, but it did at Phil, so he saw it highlight in his chat, and he calls the person out. He's like, blah, 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 ban, making fun of me for buying fast food with your donation money. So it's still fucking irked him. It's really amazing how that stung him. This is a post from Soap Queen 1, who screen capped a couple of messages from Darkside Phil in his own chat where he is upset about people making fun of the way he laughs, the ack laugh. He says, my laugh doesn't sound like that at all, not at all in real life. I would perfectly be fine with a laughed meme if it sounded like my odd laugh. So he's only okay with memes if they're factually accurate, by the way, guys, or if they're truly positive. I know I said earlier that Third Eye the Third got unbanned, and he did cheer and say, hey, can you explain why I was banned and unbanned? I don't think Phil went through and tried to explain it, but he was getting tons of whispers according to him. A lot of people wanted to know what happened, probably detractors and fans alike, and Phil just kind of blew by it. And to end the week, we have Big Ups Liquid Richard posting that Tevin made it into the YouTube trending page at position 20. This is the first time that he's trended on YouTube while restreaming Phil. And that does it for this week in DSP. Again, I'd like to thank everyone who's stuck it through for this whole hour plus. If you guys found anything wrong, please feel free to issue a correction in the comments below and I'll address it. I'll point it out in the next video. If I need to take the video down and remake it, I guess I can do that too. I know David Davidson did the same thing with the ViewBot scenario. I can fucking speak still. I might premiere this on YouTube. I'm not 100% sure yet. And I'm definitely going to restream Blackout tonight. So I hope to see you guys for that. And thank you guys for the continued support. We're about to break 400 subscribers on the channel. I know it's small potatoes compared to a lot of channels out there, but this is pretty exciting for me. I think for 400 subs, I'll do a cooking video. I've seen some other detractors and even just some other gaming channels do the same thing. I know some people have talked about this on Discord before where we've posted food that each other have cooked. So I think that'd be something kind of fun, something one-off, and something very different than what I've done already. And if I don't see you guys in the stream tonight, I hope to catch you guys in the next video or stream. And of course, feel free to follow me on Twitter or join the Discord if you guys want to keep talking. And I'll see you guys next time.